Hello everybody. Welcome to Global Hack Week API Week. How's everyone doing? I see some of you have already dropped your GitHub URLs in the chat. I have to go through them and take a look and see who's got the most interesting and fun GitHub profile readmes. If you don't already, or you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry, because we're going to go through together today to learn about what GitHub profile readmes are and how we can use GitHub Copilot to help us create a stunning readme. So we're going to use the power of Copilot agent mode as well as utilizing MCP servers to accomplish our goal. But before then, make sure you check into the event right here. We want to make sure everyone gets their Global Hack Week points. So just head over to the event checking link and click register and check in. All you have to do is pop in your GitHub profile URL. And for me, it is github.com/way. And just like that, you are now checked in and you have received your points. All right, let me see. All right, let me maybe turn up the music a little bit. Do let me know if it is too loud or too quiet. I can adjust. All right, while everybody's checking in, let me just, let me just explain what are the benefits you get for checking into the event. First of all, you get fast-track GitHub Student Developer Pack access. And some of the advantages of GitHub Student Developer Pack, if you haven't used them, GitHub Student Developer Pack right here. These are all the resources you can get as long as you're a student. So first up, we're going to be talking extensively about GitHub Copilot today. Free access to Copilot Pro while you're a student. You also get tons of free domain name, cloud hosting credits that you can use for your personal projects, for a Global Hack Week, or for a hackathon that you might be going to. And also have training material that you can use to learn different technologies, concepts, frameworks, and even practice your interview skills. So definitely check out all the amazing resources that come with GitHub Student Developer Pack. And by checking into the event, you will get access to a special link on the bottom left here of the event page, which gets you access to all the goodies that we're talking about. But I want to kind of tune it back to turn our focus light back to GitHub Copilot Pro. With the GitHub Student Developer Pack access, you do get premium model access. So these are models like Gemini 2.5 Pro, OpenAI's ChatGPT, which is, I think, GPT-5 models, and even Claude Sonnet 4.5. So all those models, premium models from the industry-leading providers are available for free with GitHub Copilot Pro plan. And if you're not currently a student, don't worry, you can still get the GitHub Copilot free version, which contain access to some of the awesome models as well, which I will actually demo, including the Grok model. All right, and let me actually switch the banner over to ask me any questions in chat. So if you have any questions whatsoever throughout this session, please don't hesitate to let me know in chat. And thank you everybody for posting your GitHub URLs. That's awesome to see all of you have amazing GitHub projects and GitHub profiles. With that, let me just introduce myself real quick. If you haven't met me, my name is Wei, a coach here at Major League Hacking. My favorite programming languages are JavaScript and TypeScript. And a fun fact about me is I'm currently in Massachusetts. And after my stream, I'm actually going to my 30th hackathon as an MLH coach. That's going to be Hack UMass 13. Hope to see you there. All right, and let's keep going here. Yeah, as everyone knows Today, learning to use AI throughout your development workflow is now an essential skill, right? Software creation has dramatically changed. You're no longer entering the industry as an individual contributor. You're actually entering the industry as a manager of agents and tools. So AI agents, you have to be able to know how to utilize them throughout your development workflow. And by learning them and getting this skill under your tool belt, this will be your competitive advantage in the workplace. And a lot of times, talking about AI, using AI, is frowned upon in schools or work. Maybe your professors forbid it in your class. Maybe at your work, they don't have access, they don't give you access to AI tools. But by being here at Global Hack Week and MLH Hackathon events, you are actually coming to the best place to learn and experiment with your AI skills. AI technology changes so much, it changes daily. You see news day after day about new things that come out. And these are the events that you can come to really brush up on your skills and learn new skills and stay on top of new developments in AI. So welcome. And with that, let's ask a question to the audience. Who knows what GitHub Copilot is and how do you use it? We'll give everybody a few seconds here. Let me know. Do you know what GitHub Copilot is and how do you use it? Do you use it daily? And how do you use it? I'm seeing a few more folks posting their GitHub profiles, so thank you so much. We can check out each other's profiles, and we can follow each other and see what awesome projects we're all building. And thank you so much for everyone who have posted in chat. Keep them coming. So Copilot is an AI coding agent. Copilot is AI for coding and a LLM for coding. Very close. Awesome, everybody. So I'm going to give you my definition, which is GitHub Copilot is a fully agentic AI pair programmer that can help you write, debug, and understand code. And I really like this comment as well. It can be used to fast track software development. And that is exactly right. And we have someone also using VS Code or use Copilot in VS Code for code completion. Excellent, excellent. So those are many, many different features AI has. So if you look back just a year ago in 2024, AI coding is still mostly tab completions. It is pretty unreliable. It will give you bad code, outdated code, and soiled code. So that is no good because we want things to work. But if you just fast forward now, GitHub Copilot today, it is now fully agentic. It is a coding agent, full-fledged coding agent. It produces high-quality code, and it can even do more with MCP server access. So we're going to be talking about MCP servers a bunch. Does anybody in the crowd know about MCP servers? Give me a type of 1 if you know what MCP servers are, and type of 0 if you haven't heard of MCP servers. Just want to kind of gauge how many people have heard of it or used it. We have another comment here. Using Copilot for documenting the code is an amazing tool. Exactly. I love using Copilot to document the code. Sometimes, when I write something, I don't even remember 3 weeks after what the code is doing. So using that for documentation is really, really amazing. And with the use of the spec kit, I don't know if anyone has seen spec kit, it takes it to a whole new level. And I have covered it in last Global Hack Week, but maybe I'll talk more about it in the next one. So definitely check out spec kit if you haven't heard of it. All right, so we have a few responses in chat. Thank you so much for all of them. So some of you have heard of them, the MCP server, Model Context Protocol. Some of you are new to it. Don't worry, we're going to be starting out and learning about MCP servers together. And just a quick overview of what we're going to be doing today. We'll learn by doing. First, we're going to fork a GitHub README for your GitHub profile. So this is going to be going to serve as your public GitHub profile that everybody can visit. And we're going to set up GitHub and my MLH MCP servers so that we can get access to live personalized data, things like the projects you're working on, maybe the schools, maybe your resume, your schools, the schools you've been to, the jobs that you have taken, what are your favorite programming languages? For me, it's JavaScript, TypeScript. We'll see if our GitHub MCP servers are able to identify that from my projects I work on, and things like that. And lastly, we're going to actually get the help of GitHub Copilot to cobble everything together from the different data sources from GitHub, from my MLH profile, and customize the GitHub profile. If we have time at the end, I'll also showcase some advanced widgets that you can add to your GitHub profile. With that, let's just talk about MCP servers real quick. If you haven't heard of MCP servers, let's just go to the official website here. Model Context Protocol. This is the official website of MCP servers. And you can see MCP is a standardized protocol for AI to interact with various systems. So if you can look at this screenshot right here, to the left, we have what's called MCP clients. These are clients. These are things like ChatGPT. These are things like Copilot and other AI applications. And to the right, we have data sources and tools. So these are things that you can either get data from, take actions on, or like a lot of times, if you think about AI, right, they don't have knowledge of your personal data. They don't have knowledge of your proprietary data if you're in a company, like your knowledge base. Or if you wanted to do different things, maybe interact with your GitHub, you can see here productivity tools, maybe message someone on Slack for you, or access Google Maps, Google Hotel, Google Flights. It is very difficult for AI to interact with them directly. But with the help of MCP servers, it is exposed, like all these different tools and data sources are exposed as a standard protocol. So if you think of MCP, you can think of it like APIs, right? We are at Global Hack Week, API Week. So API helps expose a lot of these things. And MCP is basically APIs, but for AI and LLMs. It's a standardized protocol so that AI can know what are all the things that are available and what are the tools that it has access to. So let's take a look at the chat here. We do have a few questions. Can we work solo or do we need teams? So for Global Hack Week, this is mostly a solo event. You can do challenges, workshops on your own. But of course, if you want to work on projects with your team, you can definitely do that as well. All right, so we have another message from YouTube. Remember your great sessions on MCP servers, enabling AI models to access and interact with external data sources and tools. Exactly, you're right on. And we have another definition here. MCP is like a common language or set of rules that lets AI models, like ChatGPT, connect safely and easily with external tools, data, and systems. Well said. So thank you so much for your replies. So I hope that kind of helps you understand what it is. And here is a good analogy from the MCP website directly. Think of it as a USB-C to connect different electronic devices. MCP connects different AI applications to different systems. I hope I gave you a quick, overview, like an idea of what that is. But we're going to go hands-on and actually create a GitHub profile README together. So first of all, I'm going to ask everyone to clone, or actually to create a new repository using this GitHub template that I sent. So once you go to the URL, you can click use this template on the top right. And you can click create a new repository. So I'm going to click that. And just like that, I can pick my username Wei, and just make sure for the repository name, you pick the same name as your username so that GitHub knows this is your profile repository. And you should see a little message underneath to tell you exactly that. So once you use this template, create a new repo, make sure you put your username and repository name to be the same as your username. And we're going to keep it public so that the world can see our profile. And with that, I'm just going to click create repository. And if anyone needs a little bit more time, just let me know in chat. We'll make sure everyone gets this repository cloned, created and cloned properly. And in the meantime, I have my VS Code window already up. So give me a type of 1 if you have this repository cloned. And if you already have a GitHub profile repo, you can just pick a different name. And if you ever want to use this version as your repo, you can rename so that it will show up properly. All right, thank you so much for those who gave me a 1. If you need a little bit more time, just let me know. Otherwise, we'll keep going. So you should have your own repo, github.com/1/1 here. Sorry, you guys typed 1, but my repo is Wei/Wei. Yeah, github.com/Wei/Wei. Just make sure it's your username and you're good to go. Okay, sounds like we're good to go. Next up, we're going to open up our Visual Studio Code. So let's open this up. It should look just like this. Make sure you open a new window if you already have a window open. So you can do File, New Window. But this is already a new window, so I'll keep going. And does anybody know how to get that repository downloaded onto your computers? All right, I'm testing everybody's Git knowledge here. Like, how do you get this repository that we have here down to our computers? So we have an answer, clone, exactly, git clone. So everybody's familiar with it. For those of you who are not yet familiar with it, you can actually see some instructions directly on GitHub itself. You can see local, how do you clone it? You can click the question mark to learn more about how to clone and everything else. You can even easily just click open with Visual Studio. Let me try that. Open with Visual Studio. Does it work? Okay, it doesn't work. Don't worry, we don't have to do it that way. So if you already know how to do the clone, you can do it yourself. But for me, I like a visual, step-by-step instructions here. So I'm going to Visual Studio Code and clicking the Clone Git Repository button. And this is very important. Once you click Clone Git Repository, make sure you click Clone from GitHub. And then inside there, you can just type in your repository name. And just like that, I can see my new repository, Wei/Wei. I can click on it. It's going to ask me, where do I want to download this repository? For my demo here, I'll just pop it into my downloads folder. So just like that, I have cloned the repository locally and I can open it up. All right, give me a 1 if you're all good to go. You cloned it locally. In the meantime, let me answer a question here. For the file we missed from the API Hack Week, Global Hack Week API Week, can we still attend them and mark ourselves in the website for the specific live stream? You can definitely still attend them and by watching the YouTube stream, and you can actually go to the URL right here. And you can see all the past streams, where this is our stream right now. And we just had a few amazing streams from Auth0, Cloudflare, and MongoDB. And all the streams will be available here, as well as all the streams from the last Global Hack Week. So definitely check them out. But unfortunately, to check into the event, like here, you have to attend the event live in order to check in. So just make sure you attend as many events as you'd like live so that you can check in and get your points. Hope that helps. All right, so we have a question here. I'm trying from Visual Studio Code. Do we need the Git extension installed? It should come installed, but you might have to install GitHub on your computer. Oh, sorry, you might have to install Git itself on your computer, not necessarily the extension. If your source control doesn't show this, it will say like Git is not found or something. So you just need to make sure you install Git. All right, we got some ones. Thank you so much for everybody's reply here. Here is another message. Is this workshop on how to use GitHub Copilot for writing code? So we're going to be showing you how to use MCP servers with the Copilot agent mode, as well as how to run commands directly from agent mode. And you can, of course, ask them to write code or modify code as you like afterwards. I had cloned it through GitHub Desktop. Perfect. GitHub Desktop is a great app for you to clone GitHub repositories as well. Got it. Okay. Thank you so much for everybody's messages there. Okay. So first things first. If you haven't already, make sure you install the GitHub Copilot extension. And that should be right here. So go to the extensions button on the left here and type in Copilot. And you should see GitHub Copilot up top, and just make sure you install it and log in if you haven't already. All right, so once you have that installed, we're going to actually install something else. We're going to install an MCP server. So you can see I already have the GitHub MCP server installed. I'm just going to uninstall it so I can show you how it works. So I'll reload my window with it uninstalled. Okay. All right, we have another message here in chat, created a fork. Okay, excellent. So now you have a fork, you can clone it and follow along. On the left side here under extensions, you should now see a section called MCP servers. And we're going to click the magnifying glass to actually search for the GitHub MCP server. So just like that, we found our GitHub MCP server. We're going to click install. So what does this do? You might ask, like, what is the difference between this and GitHub? So the GitHub MCP server exposes all the GitHub resources that's available. You can read more about it to our Copilot coding agent. So it can do all kinds of things like reading your profile, which we're going to do, reading your projects, maybe searching in your code base, creating an issue, making some code changes, automation. So a lot of different use cases, literally like everything you can think of that you do manually on GitHub, or that resources you can find on GitHub, can be accessed through the GitHub MCP server. So we're going to click install. And this is actually going to ask you to authenticate. So make sure you click allow and authenticate. I've already authenticated through my VS Code, so it might look a little bit different on your end. The GitHub window might pop up and you just need to give it permission. So I'm going to log in with Wei here. And just like that, the MCP server has been installed successfully. While everybody's doing that, I'm going to answer a couple questions. So first of all, can't find the MCP server. So make sure you have the latest version of VS Code. That is very important. So I have version 1.105.1. And secondly, you should go to the extensions tab here. I'm going to clear everything here and scroll down to the MCP servers section and click the magnifying glass before you search. All right. Let me know if that helps, Jenny. Pardon, what does clone mean in terms of coding? Excellent question. So we're going to look at the GitHub cheat sheet. I'm actually going to share this with you. in chat here. So this is the Git cheat sheet. And if you look at some of the commands here, clone is a very, very common command to download the repository to your computer. And it should be right here. So you can see git clone the URL that you see here, and it will clone, basically retrieve, download your repository to your computer. Hope that helps. Too many tabs here. There, this is where we want to be. All right, excellent, excellent. There's no tick box next to MCP server. I'm not sure what you mean, but you know, we can debug further on Discord afterwards if you want to tag me in the API Week chat. But you should be able to find it from here. There's actually another place you can find it, just in case. GitHub MCP registry. So you can also see all the amazing MCP servers that are public, that are available for you to install from the MCP registry. So you can search for GitHub from here. And this will actually do the exact same thing that we did directly on Visual Studio Code. All right, here I have a project to create GitHub issues from Slack using a chatbot. This GitHub MCP server should help. That is a perfect use case for GitHub MCP servers. I am super excited to hear more about your project. Let us know if you ever open source it. I'd love to see it. All right, now that we have GitHub MCP server installed, like how do we interact with it? So I'm going to show you how you can interact with it. On the right-hand side, once you have Visual Studio Code and Copilot installed, the Copilot extension installed, it should look something like this. Build with agent mode. And just make sure you select agent down below, because if you don't do agent, the AI is not going to have permission to connect to MCP servers. So we're going to click agent, and you're actually be able to select from a list of models. So remember when I said premium models and free models? You can see GPT 4.1, GPT 4.0, 5 mini, and Grok Code Fast 1. These are all free models. They cost zero, right? Zero. And then some of the newer models like Haiku 4.5, Sonnet 4.5, Gemini 2.5 Pro, GPT-5 Codex, those are more premium models. So they might be a little bit more powerful, they might think a little bit deeper and has the latest technologies, latest data trained on them. So you can try them out. Some of the free models also work very well. All right. So we're going to just use, maybe I'll use a free model. I mean, we can play with it. I'll use Grok Code Fast 1 for now for the demo. And I'm going to show you how you can tell like which MCP servers are installed properly, because you can see them on the left, but you might not really know if they're actually running properly or exposed to the AI. And you can do it through this button right here using the tool icon on the bottom right. And you can see all kinds of different tools AI has access to. We're going to collapse everything. Let me just click it one more time. I'm going to collapse the built-in ones, and you can see we have the MCP server, GitHub MCP server installed. If you've been to my other MCP streams, you might see the other MCP servers to be quite familiar. That is the Chrome DevTools MCP and Context 7. So if you want to learn more about those, just go back to YouTube and you can watch my deep dive 3-part series on MCP servers, where we actually learned about MCP servers, experimented with a number of MCP servers, and actually created our own MCP server. So definitely check that series out. Maybe I'll just show everybody real quick where that is. You can go to Major League Hacking Live and search for MCP, and you'll see my hands-on with MCP Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3 from Global Hack Week open source. Excellent. So now we have GitHub MCP server installed, and we know it's there. Like, let me know, chat. What is something I can ask it, right? Like, what is something that can use the GitHub MCP server? Like, what is some data points I can retrieve from GitHub that I can't get anywhere else? So let me know in chat, think about it. All right, let's thank you for the kind words there, Noob Gamer. Jenny says that worked. Awesome, good to hear. How long will this live stream? The live stream will be on for 22 more minutes until 3 p.m. Eastern time. You are so very welcome, Kiki Mimi. Excellent, excellent. So I didn't see anyone answer my question. So here's an example. I can just show everybody how this works. I'm going to ask it, like, what is something only my GitHub account has access to? Maybe my profile, right? So I can ask, fetch my GitHub profile. So I'm asking our Copilot coding agent using the Grok Code Fast 1 model, please fetch my GitHub profile. So I'm going to click send. All right, so we have actually have an answer in chat. Thank you so much. Analyze my recent folder and what it's about. So we can definitely do that, but how does that relate to GitHub, right? Maybe I can ask, like, analyze my recent GitHub projects and kind of summarize what the projects are about. That could be a very good prompt, actually. So if you look at in just a couple seconds, right, while I was looking at the chat, GitHub MCP server has actually went ahead and grabbed my user profile. And you can actually see like what GitHub gave back to the LLM. And our GitHub Copilot coding agent is able to summarize the information and give me my username, bio, location, and contact information, website, as well as stats, like how many projects I have, how long my account has been created for, and what was the latest update. So even a picture as well. So it's able to retrieve all my profile information through the use of GitHub MCP server, as you can see here. But you can do so much more. Like as one of you just said, I think Noob Gamer is going to create a project to create GitHub issues. So I can say create a GitHub issue to finish my GitHub profile README using GitHub MCP server and my MLH MCP server. So I can literally do something like this, right? And let's just see what AI does here. So it's working, it's analyzing our request, it's reading our files that we have in the repo, and it's actually going to, you can see here, run a tool call called create or update issue. And it's going to create an issue in my repo. So I'm going to click allow and just see what happens. And an issue has been created. So if I now go to this link, actually I can go back to my repo, refresh, you can see a 1 next to the issues tab. And if I go to it, and just like that, I now have an issue. It's created directly from GitHub Coding Agent, Copilot Coding Agent, and it's using the GitHub MCP server to connect directly to my GitHub account and create the issue just like this as myself. Right? So that is very, very powerful. Now, let's go back to our slides. The other thing we're going to do today is connect to the my MLH MCP server. So I'm sure everybody here already has a my MLH account because you have to have one in order to check into the event. But we're all going to head over to my.mlh.io just to make sure we're logged in. All right. Noob Gamer is asking, great, to use this MCP server in Python, do I need to add some imports and add the GitHub Copilot config? So it's actually very, very easy to create an AI agent in Python. There are so many great examples of it. You can definitely add imports, expose an AI agent, give it the MCP tool, GitHub MCP tool, make sure you're authenticated properly, and then it will be able to run code directly using and execute tool calls directly using the GitHub MCP server. So yeah, hope that helps. Now let's go over to my MLH profile. We have like about 15 minutes left, so hopefully we'll have enough time to cover everything. But once you go to this profile, you will see your education and your work experience. So this is just like your resume, right? On your MLH profile, you also have access to how many projects you've submitted at hackathons, how many events you've been to, and things like that. So for now, I have added my school and some of my work experiences here at Major League Hacking. And with that, we're actually going to be installing a MCP server called my MLH MCP server that I have created. So for us to do that, there are many ways to install MCP servers. So I just showed you one way to install the GitHub MCP server through the extensions panel. I actually also shared how to install it from the MCP registry, github.com MCP registry, right? And then the third way to install is by adding it to the config directly. So you can see in the repo here, we have .vs code. This is the folder for Visual Studio Code configurations. And we're actually going to rename this file to just mcp.json. And if we look within this file, you can see the my MLH MCP server defined like this. So we'll just rename, right-click rename. I think on Windows you can press F2. On macOS I'm going to just press Enter and change the file name just like that. And as soon as you change the file name, you'll notice like one thing that shows up like immediately, which is between line 2 and 3. You can see a Start button. So this is how you can start up your MCP server that you include using the mcp.json file. So we're just going to go ahead and click Start and authenticate to my MLH. So I'm going to click Start right now. MCP server definition wants to authenticate, allow, open up. All right, and just like that, Visual Studio Code is requesting access. I'm going to approve. If it's your first time authenticating, you might also need to just check on the permissions you want to give it, like work history, education history, maybe your name and email, so that our my MLH MCP server has access to the information, and so that our coding agent can use that information. Okay. And if you remember from the last MCP server we installed, we can actually come back to the tool icon here and collapse and just look on the bottom here. You'll see my MLH is now installed. My MCP server, my MLH. Perfect. Now, let me know, chat, like what is a question I can ask my MLH MCP server? Like what is something that only my MLH MCP server knows about me? Okay. We'll give everybody a couple seconds here. Like what is something? And if you look at my MLH profile, it is pretty apparent, right? So my MLH profile will have information about my education and about my work experience. So we have Mazidex, MLH profile details. Perfect. That is exactly what I can ask. So I'm going to ask it right in chat here. Fetch my MLH profile. So this is now going to send a request to Grok Code Fast 1 coding agent, And you can see it is now requesting permission to fetch the current my MLH user profile. And I'm going to click allow. And just like that, you can see the profile from my MLH has been retrieved. You can actually expand it and take a look at the response. But for the most part, you can look at the summary by AI, which is way, account details, professional experiences, education. So it has everything that I gave it permission to read. All right, question in chat. How does AI agent know what MCP server to use? So that is the magic of LLMs. So how it works is when we send a request, we actually tell LLM, these are all the available MCP servers I have. Separately, we're going to tell LLM, this is the user's question. So in this case, the user's question was fetch my MLH profile. And LLM is going to look in every single tool here. Oh, there's a my MLH MCP server, and inside there is a get user profile tool. So that sounds great, and it's going to use that tool. So that's all within the decisions made within the LLM itself. You can read more about that afterwards. It's very, very fascinating. How do I check in? Great question. I'm going to post the check-in link one more time just for you, so that you can get your global hack week points. Excellent. The name of the MCP server matters a lot. Not just the name, but also the description. So name and description definitely matters a lot because LLMs use that information to decide which MCP server to use. And try not to give it too many tools. Like when you create an MCP server or when you install MCP servers, try not to install too many because that will really confuse the LLM. Like maybe if I ask the question, get my profile, it's going to have a hard time deciding, okay, do you mean your GitHub profile? Do you mean your my MLH profile? Do you mean some other profile? So definitely give it more specific tools that you need, and more clear instructions will definitely help as well. Now we only have 10 minutes left, so let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to start a new session, new chat session using the plus button, and I'm going to use a premium model here. I'll use Gemini 2.5 Pro, and I will say create my GitHub profile README using my GitHub profile and my MLH profile. All right, you're so welcome. How can one create an MCP server? Great question. This is actually a perfect segue to promote my streams. Last Global Hack Week, I just talked about it. You can just search for hands-on with MCP servers or something like that. And I'll actually send this URL directly in chat here so that if you want to watch them, you can take a look at part 1, 2, and 3. So part 1 is we learned about MCP, what they are, and we explored like 5 different MCP servers. Part 2 and 3, part 2 was creating an MCP server. We actually also used SpecKit that I was talking about earlier, which was really, really cool. And we actually published our MCP server to the MCP registry. So definitely check them out if you are interested in a more deeper dive of MCP. But in the meantime here, our AI agent has retrieved my GitHub user profile and my MLH profile, and it's now creating a profile for me. So let's give it a few seconds here. Oh, thank you so much for coming to my session, you as well. All right. Now it has retrieved my profiles. It's using the information from all my profiles, and it's actually updating the README. And if you look, it's actually pulling my website, my Twitter, my name, my experiences, my education, and it even went ahead and pulled some of my popular projects. So you can see the premium model, Gemini 2.5 Pro, actually went ahead and searched what are some of my popular repositories that would be good to put on my README, because if you look at the previous template, it actually talked about, sorry, that's not the right one. This is Ryan Swift. Actually, I'll just go to way/way. And if you look at the sample README source file, you'll see, okay, here are actually my featured projects. So the LLM is smart enough to say, okay, how can I get those featured projects? It was able to find that GitHub MCP server has a search repositories feature, which can be used to query for my projects. So it looks pretty good. I'm actually going to reopen this with the preview mode. I think I can just click preview, open preview, and it looks like this. It looks like a pretty clean README, right? So we have 5 minutes left. I'll also show you some other features here. If you aren't aware yet, MLH has many events happening this season in 2026. So if you take a look at all the different amazing hackathons and events that we're running, we're currently at Global Hack Week, API Week. I'm actually going to Hack UMass. Where is Hack UMass? Is it not on here? That's not good. But I'm actually going to a couple other hackathons soon. I'm actually going to Dandy Hacks in New York, Rochester, New York. Come say hi if you are coming. And then I'm actually going to Hack Western as well. So, so definitely come to those events. So I can put a message here and say, as an MLH coach, I am attending Global Hack Week, API Week, and Dandy Hacks. Add that info to my README. Here is the URL for all the events. So I'm hoping it will be able to pull some information from these events, including dates and URLs, and pop them into my GitHub profile README. All right, so we have some other comments here. Are there videos we can watch about the widgets you talked about earlier? Which widget specifically? Unfortunately, in Europe can go. There are some hackathons in Europe, so definitely check it out. We actually have a couple hackathons happening this weekend in Europe. We also have online hackathons if you would like to attend some of those. All right, so if you look at the chat here, the chat history here, our coding agent actually went ahead and fetched all the events from mlh.io/events, and it was able to populate that in my README. So it's able to do a lot of things. It is very powerful. So I encourage you to explore on your own. And now we have all the changes we need. I'm just going to say commit and push these changes. I can do it myself, of course. I can stage the changes using the GitHub command line, GitHub desktop, or directly in VS Code here. But I'm going to ask our AI agent to do it for us. So you can see it is currently running some commands for us. User wants to commit and push. So I'm going to allow first staging all the changes, commit, and then it's going to push. So I just hit allow. It did everything for us. It actually ran, you can see in the terminal, all those commands for us. We can then go to our GitHub. So github.com/way/way, and you can see that I now have a very stunning README. I can now actually go to my personal profile, like just /way, and you can see the profile is now published on my just the /username address. I don't even have to go into the repo to see it. It's now visible for everyone coming to my GitHub profile. Yeah. So if you remember, we actually opened the issue, right? To fix the README or to add the README. Close issue number 1. Close issue 1. And let's see if it's smart enough to figure that out. Failed. Update. Update. Closed. Issue number. So yeah, as you can see, sometimes AI has trouble updating issues. In this case, it looks like it might be the wrong tool to use because it's create or update issue. I don't know if close is considered update or not, but in the interest of time, we won't go through that. We can just close it ourselves and pat ourselves on the back that we did it. Click here, close. All right, excellent. So if you haven't checked into the event, make sure you go to the event checking link and get your points. We only have a couple minutes left before the link expires, and make sure you get fast track access to GitHub Student Developer Pack. So a recap, we'll go into Q&A shortly, right after this. We learned about GitHub Student Developer Pack, how to get access to it. We learned about what MCP servers are, and we actually cloned a repository for our GitHub profile README, installed both GitHub MCP server and my MLH MCP server, and we used the Copilot coding agent to not only update all the information in our profile README, we also even asked it to fetch data directly from the MLH events website to pull information from an external source and integrate that into our README. And lastly, we even used the coding agent to run commands for us, like the git commands that we just did. So it is very powerful. I definitely highly recommend you explore more of that yourself. And if you have a second, I would really appreciate you if you could fill out this survey for my session today. If there's anything that you liked about it, definitely mention it. Or if there's any improves, anything you would like to see in the session, definitely let me know as well. And let's just kind of take a quick look at some of the Q&A. Widgets. So yes, I'm going to send resources to all the different amazing widgets that you can use on your GitHub profile README, and you can explore them on your own. So here are the links. Thank you for reminding me. How can we join teams for hackathons? So when you attend a hackathon, you can go to the hackathon's general channel and ask more about that. Different hackathons have different ways of team formation. Some of them are like have a set time. Some of them are mostly through Discord threads and things like that. So it just depends on the hackathon. I've been using MCP without understanding the concept. Thank you for the session. Okay, excellent. I really appreciate you coming, and I'm glad it was helpful. Check-in link. Thank you so much for coming to the session. Thank you so much. I'm new to your channel. Tell me more about MLH. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go into too much depth, too much detail, but MLH is an organization that helps hackers around the world to learn, to experiment with things. We run workshops, we run events that I showed, all the hackathon events I showed, and Global Hack Week events as you're currently attending right now. We also have a MLH fellowship program, which is for students, and it's like an internship alternative program. You can read more about that as well. So that's a very quick rundown. If you have time, make sure you join our Discord server for Global Hack Week, and we can assist you further. Or if you want to come to our Today in Global Hack Week session tomorrow, we'll be able to get all your questions answered about MLH and what that's about. And with that, let me just show everybody what is the next stream. The next stream is actually happening right now. That is the Figma to Code Learning Design with Figma Dev Mode session. This is a very, very useful session, especially if you're looking into making designs and implement that into your projects. It is super, super nice and super easy to do. So with that, I'm going to hop off so we can get that session started. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Bye for now.